Illinois Duke is one of the games we are most excited for in college football week two. And as we've said on some other videos, our college football coverage this year is a little different than it was last year. We're not doing previews and recaps for every single game. We're kind of just picking our spots, reacting to things that are said, and building excitement however we want on a week to week basis for all of our favorite games in college football. So I will say to you, Illinois Duke is one of those games I almost wish we were doing our old fashioned previews for because I think there's a lot to talk about with this game. So I feel like this video is our opportunity to have that conversation a little bit under the framework of the way that the line for the game, has become polarizing in the college football world. Illinois opened as 2.5 point favorites on the road at Duke. And I think most big accounts that follow college football or care about sports betting had the same reaction I did. That feels fishy. There was a lot of buzz from folks who were like, I just don't get this line at all. For what it's worth, it has now been bet up already to Illinois -3. It appears the public is all over Illinois to cover the spread by more than a field goal on the road at Duke. But man, if I wasn't so emotionally and already financially invested in Illinois football, I would point out to everyone this is the classic line that I look for every single week, where the public is all over a team on the road. Home dogs are not dogs, they're wolves. Duke has a great quarterback and a reason to believe that they can win this game outright. So, where do you stand on this? Do you understand the sentiment that everyone thinks this line is fishy? Do you think Illinois should be favored by 3 points on the road at Duke?
So obviously the world's worst handicapper when I think I'm pretty good at like doing research and breaking down bets and finding angles and things like that. But as far as setting lines, don't look to me for that. I look to other people for that. I don't think that this line is as fishy as people are making it seem. I think that Duke has some good components to their football team. I think they got a really good quarterback. I think they actually have some pretty good wide receivers as well. I'm a big fan of Andrew Anthony, the former Michigan player who didn't necessarily do great at Oklahoma, but he had a touchdown catch in week one against Elon given. And I understand that there was a little bit of a struggle for Duke against Elon in their first game. But this is a Duke football team with a good quarterback at home. Like I don't think that the line is as fishy as people make it seem.
Yeah, it depends on how you interpret like the struggles for Duke too. They were tied at halftime 10-10, but they blitzed them in the second half. Ultimately, they win by almost 30 points. So, I don't know. We saw a lot of teams have a tale of two halves in week one. I think there were quite a few teams that played 30 great minutes of football and 30 very iffy minutes of football. I would put Duke in that bucket. I believe in Darian Mensah a lot. I loved him at Tulane last year. And when Duke scooped him up immediately, it was one of my favorite ads of the entire offseason. He's a guy that just flat out, I think he can go win you a game. Like if the talent on both sides is relatively equal, Darian Mensah is not a game manager. He is a let me go star my way to a victory. And I think that was on full display in week one. 389 yards passing, three touchdowns, zero interceptions, 27 for 34. I mean, I don't know if a quarterback in the country had a better performance than that, competition level aside. So I think Illinois is going to have to deal with that. Like their hope is definitely that their defense and all that they return can just make things difficult on Mensah, possibly force him into some negative plays. And offensively, I think if you're Illinois, I don't think you have the home run power necessarily that like a Pat Bryant provided you last year. So you got to win on the margins on the road against a good football team. Like you've got to be great in special teams. They need a couple huge returns like they got in week one. And if it becomes Altmaier versus Mensa, Illinois can win the game. But I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want it to come down to like which quarterback makes more throws in a home game for Duke. And I think this line is indicative of that, quite frankly. I think Vegas is aware that Darius Mintz is a guy who can go win you a game, especially at home. And I was not as surprised, just like you were. I get why the public wants to bet Illinois here. They got the big number next to them in the AP poll, up to 11th, I think, overall in the country right now. Again, I'm heavily invested in Illinois. I just think this is the right line. I probably would have put it right around a field goal, maybe even 2.5. I didn't hate the line there.
Right. I thought 2.5 felt about right. Like it'd be a field goal game kind of. So yeah, it just wasn't that surprising to me given honestly just Duke being at home, having an opportunity to get a big win, having the quarterback play that I think they do have. And the scary part is that people don't want to admit ever in life is that Ryan Brown almost beat this team last year. So they're not invincible.
Yeah, very true. I would just add too, Manny Diaz is a good football coach. Like we've seen Manny Diaz teams be very prolific. So I don't know. It's not one of those where it's like, oh, Bielema. I like Bielema better as a coach right now. I think he's doing great things, but it's not a mismatch really anywhere other than like I think on defense, Illinois has a better defense, and I don't know, just returnees, more experience probably. But like you could argue, Duke has a coach as good as Bielema, a quarterback every bit as good as Altmaier. Being the home team makes this very close to a pick 'em. It's a game with serious implications. Illinois definitely has more to play for from like a we think we could go to the college football playoff standpoint. Do you think Illinois like what's the must win radar for this for Illinois football? There's all this momentum, all this hype. It's a non-con game. It's not going to hurt them in the Big Ten, but
Yeah, the only I don't think it's like a must win, honestly, but I do think it would solidify some things about maybe the preseason the hype surrounding this team. Like that'd be a very impressive win for them early on in the season to go on the road and beat this Duke team. Like I don't think like I feel like there's a world where it gets downplayed and it's like, oh, they just beat Duke, where I don't think that should be the case whatsoever. This would be a very impressive victory.
I think to that extent, it's pretty must win for me. I think it's about a 9 on the scale, just because of how you know how deflating it would be. Like if they lose, let's say they lose by 10 on the road at Duke. Suddenly all the doubt comes creeping into play of just like, man, was last season an anomaly? Like that, man, our preseason win total was only 7. Was Vegas right? Like,
Yeah.
what is they need to carry the confidence that they carried midway through last season. And I will say one thing, just psychologically, the spot reminds me of Illinois' game against Kansas last year. Remember, like, wasn't that week 2 too, where Kansas had a lot of hype. They had a lot of good seasons in a row. Jalen Daniels was, a quarterback that everybody was gassing up, was good enough to go win you a game. And I don't know, Illinois kind of stomped Kansas. That game wasn't all that close, if I remember correctly. So
Yeah. Where was that game though?
I don't remember.
Was it at, it might have been at home for Illinois though.
Might have been. I don't remember.
Might have been, but it's a dangerous one, and G Fed's in the building.
Yeah, right. Should be interesting. GFED can't save you, Duke. We're gonna have our newsletter giving our actual betting picks and serious thought and write-ups and all that later this week, but early leans. Do you have a play on this game?
I will be on Duke with the points.
Really?
Yeah, I will, and not even to come as a disrespect to Illinois. I just think that the quarterbacking play of Duke can be enough to at least keep this to maybe a field goal victory.
Yeah. Okay, I hear that. So I think I'm gonna spoil my play. I won't give much reasoning behind it. I'll save that for the newsletter. I'm gonna back Illinois money line here and lay the juice. It's minus 150 something, I believe. Um, I would not touch this spread. I think this game reeks of like a 2 point dramatic late victory for Illinois, where Vegas covers and the people that back Duke with the points win, but Illinois
Mm,
gets the clutch win.
fair to say. I like it.